band for you there on BBC Radio Wales. Right, we're going to go underground now. Kellingley Colliery in North Yorkshire was Europe's largest deep coal mine until it closed its doors in December of 2015. In the last 2 weeks of production, Roger Tiley, who's a photographer from Ystrad Gunlights, he was given exclusive access to the site to document the workers' lives before the mine closed, and he's put all of his pictures into his new book, Last Days at Big K, published later this month. I've seen some of the pictures. We're going to talk to Roger about them now. He's in our Swansea studio. Hi, Roger.
Good morning, Carl.
And now the book is out. I've had a look at some of the pictures, and they really stir the emotions, because you captured the last 2 weeks here of people who worked in this mine their whole lives, had they?
Well, it was bittersweet for me, because it was lovely to be invited to be the only photographer to photograph it and document it. But, of course, miners were losing their jobs and the industry was basically coming to an end in the UK. But, you know, a fantastic experience. The miners were absolutely brilliant with me. They really made me welcome, and I went underground on several occasions. And I'd been underground in quite a few pits, mainly in South Wales and some in the USA as well. But it had been a while since I'd photographed underground. Tower Colliery was the last one I photographed in 1996.
Right, and you did go underground. And if you Google Last Days at Big K, anyone listening, you can have a look at some of the pictures. Have a look at them while we hear from Roger here. You were underground with these guys who were going to be losing their jobs. Were they pleased to have you there?
Well, this was what I thought when I was asked or invited to go up. I didn't know how they would respond, because, yes, like you say, they were losing their jobs. But when you go underground, you go down 800 metres, and then you go on what they call the Paddy Loco, which you go about 4.5, 5 miles into the pit, and then another 1.5, 1.75 miles to the coal face. The comradeship and the friendship and the banter, it's only underground where you will experience that. And they were fantastic to me. I'm not a photographer that uses long lenses or spy lenses. I use a wide-angle lens, so I'm very, very close in. But the marvellous thing about my job is I meet these incredible people, and they allow me to photograph their lives for prosperity, and that really is an honour for me. And towards the end of the 2 weeks, there was quite a few miners that stated to me and said, "You're one of us," which is a really lovely accolade for me.
Yeah, it's a
really
big compliment.
feel proud.
Yeah.
Yes.
You mentioned the camaraderie of the people who work underground, and as you say, you've photographed miners in Pennsylvania, across the Atlantic. Is it the same bond? Can you see a common theme?
Yes, there is. There's this friendship and comradeship, because it's a very dangerous industry, and across the world, everyone looks out for everyone else. So you get that camaraderie, and like I say, the banter, the jokes, and the Mickey taking is just really funny, and you wouldn't experience it anywhere else. But I loved it. All the pits that I went to, I think I've been on around about 23 coal faces over my career, and it's all the same. You know, you laugh, and then towards the end, you cry. It was very, very sad. I mean, the last day, all the press and the media were at the pit and taking their snaps. I didn't feel one of them. I felt one of the miners, to be honest. And as I say, they were absolutely incredible, and it was a highlight of my career. I'm really proud of the photographs, and just to have that experience is something very special for me.
Yeah, 200 photos in this book. You say you've been underground 23 coal faces over the years. Why do you keep going underground to take your photos?
Well, I come from the valleys, born and bred. I think when I was in school and finishing school in the mid-1970s, I don't think I didn't want to be a miner. I think the careers teacher didn't know what to do with me. But there were plenty of pits that were still open, and a lot of my friends were going to work in the mining industry. And I think it's something which, you know, is bred into you to see these collieries when you're growing up, and to see all the coal tips. I remember playing on the coal tips. So I think it was something that really interested me. And I've always said to younger photographers coming through, you don't have to go halfway across the world to take good pictures. You know, photograph your own communities, and obviously the valleys communities are very interesting, and places like Yorkshire where they've lost coal mining, and they have to look towards the future for new industries and for new jobs.
And what was the future for a lot of these miners? Because as I mentioned, the photographs that I've seen, they look like men in their 50s. And
Yes.
obviously it's hard, the older you are, the harder it tends to be to find work. What was their outlook now that this was closing?
There's this fight with coal miners. A lot of them have got new employment, but a lot of them have said to me, we'd go back into the mine tomorrow.
Really?
And you think of all the dangers. And at Kellingley, the temperature and humidity were incredibly, it was incredibly hot. It was 33 to 35 degrees Celsius. And, pretty bad conditions. And as I say, it's very, very dangerous. But these men are fighters, and a lot of them have found new work, not doing the things that they want to do. Like, as you say, some of them are in their 50s and they want to be coal miners. And they've gone from pit to pit. So one pit is closed, they moved to the next one, but of course Kellingley was the last one.
Yeah, and if this is ringing a bell with anyone listening, this was the Kellingley story was part of the documentary. It was on before Christmas, wasn't it? The Last Miners.
Yes, absolutely. I was invited by the director and producer of that programme to come up and take photographs. There were some Welsh miners, I should add as well, working at the pit. And one of them, Carwyn Donovan, actually put my name forward, and he's written the foreword to the book, and he's also allowed me to use his speech at the last pit party, which was a very, very sad occasion indeed.
Yeah, I bet it was. Well, tell us about the book then. I've seen some of the pictures. If there's one that you could pick and describe to us, what's your favourite picture, I suppose?
Well, I think the pictures, there are some portraits in the book of some of the miners on the coal face, and you can see how hot it was there. They're sweating, they've got their tops off, they're covered in coal dust. And I think that really shows that it shows people that have never been down into a coal mine what conditions were like, and I think those pictures are my favourite. And like I say, going underground has always been an interesting thing for me, because you get to ride the conveyor belts, which you did see on the programme, The Last Miners, and the miners ride the conveyor belt to the coal face, and that's a great experience. Yeah, awful conditions for a photographer. Very, very difficult conditions.
Yeah, was the dust getting into your camera? Was that an issue?
The heat and humidity, which you didn't really get in certainly the South Wales mines that I went in, my camera steamed up. So when we got to what they call the AB desk, which is about 4.5 miles in from pit bottom, I checked my camera. I was going to take some pictures, and it totally steamed up. And it was the first time I've taken a digital camera underground. So I didn't know, and I was really quite nervous about it, because I didn't know if I was going to get any pictures, and they trusted me to be the last photographer in the world to photograph under a UK mine.
Yeah.
But eventually it did clear up, and I managed to get the pictures.
Well, some responsibility, and the pictures that I've seen are really good and emotional. They stir the emotions. Now, we mentioned about the miners, the mines in the UK closed. What's your next project? Because, there aren't going to be many mines left for you to go and photograph, are there, in the UK?
Yeah, the producer of the programme said that there are quite a lot of coal mines around the world. Unfortunately, there aren't any in the UK. I do photograph other things. I'm just going to Port Talbot now after this interview to take photographs for a book that I'm about to work on, photographing in Port Talbot. So if anybody sees me today, I'd like a cup of tea and take some pictures.
And if you've got a copy of Roger's book, I'm sure he'll be happy to sign it for you. Roger, thanks for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you, Carl.
That's Roger Tiley, whose book Last Days at Big K chronicles the last couple of weeks' work at Kellingley Colliery in North Yorkshire.
I remember